What today is commonly referred as the Independence of Argentina was declared on July 9, 1816 by the Congress of Tucumán. In reality, the congressmen that were assembled in Tucumán declared the independence of the United Provinces of South America, which is still today one of the legal names of the Argentine Republic. The Federal League provinces, at war with the United Provinces, were not allowed into the Congress. At the same time, several provinces from the Upper Peru that would later become part of present-day Bolivia, were represented at the Congress. Causes: the 1810 May Revolution followed the deposition of the Spanish King Ferdinand VII by the Napoleonic French. The revolution ended the authority of the Viceroy Cisneros and replaced it with the Primera Junta. When the Spanish monarchy resumed its functions in 1819, Spain was determined to recover control over its colonies in the Americas. Moreover, the royalists from Peru had been victorious at the battles of Saipe, Huachi, Vilcapugio and Ayanama, in Upper Peru, and seriously threatened the United Provinces from the north. On April 15, 1815 a revolution ended the mandate of Carlos Maura Adilvia as Supreme Director and demanded that a General Congress be summoned. Delegate deputies, each representing 14,000 inhabitants, were sent from all the United Provinces of the Rio de la Plata to the sessions, which started on March 24, 1816. However, the Federal League provinces did not send delegates, the Argentine littoral provinces, and the Eastern Province. Development: the Congress was inaugurated in the city of Tucumán, with 33 deputies. The presidency of the Congress would be rotated monthly. Because the Congress had the freedom to choose topics to debate, endless discussions ensued. The voting finally ended on July 9 with a Declaration of Independence. The declaration pointed to the circumstances in Europe of the past 6 years, the removal of the King of Spain by the Napoleon and the subsequent refusal of Ferdinand VII to accept constitutional rule both in the peninsula and overseas. The document claimed that Spanish America recovered its sovereignty from the Crown of Castile in 1808, when Ferdinand VII had been deposed, and therefore, any union between the overseas dominions of Spain and the peninsula had been dissolved. This was a legal concept that was also invoked by the other Spanish-American declarations of independence, such as Venezuela's and Mexico's, which were responding to the same events. The president of the Congress at the time was Francisco Narciso de la Prida, delegate from San Juan province. Subsequent discussions centered on what form of government the emerging states should adopt. The Congress continued its work in Buenos Aires in 1817, but it got stopped in 1820 after the Battle of Cepeda, which deepened the differences between the Unitarian Party, who favored a strong central government, and the Federals, who favored a weak central government. The house where the declaration was adopted has been rebuilt and is now a museum and monument, the House of Tucumán. Signatories of the declaration: Francisco Narciso de la Prida, Deputy for San Juan, President; Mariano Boedo, Deputy for Salta; Vice President, Jose Copyright Mariano Serrano, Deputy for Chacas; Secretary, Juan Jose Copyright Paso, Deputy for Buenos Aires; Secretary Drive Antonio Zaines, Deputy for Buenos Aires Drive Jose Copyright Daraguera, Deputy for Buenos Aires; Friar Caetano Jose Copyright Rodriguez, Deputy for Buenos Aires Drive Pedro Medrano, Deputy for Buenos Aires Drive Manuel Antonio Acevedo, Deputy for Catamarca Dr. Jose Copyright Ignacio de Goratay, Deputy for Salta Dr. Jose Copyright Andra Copyright S. Pacheco de Malo, Deputy for Chichos Dr. Tio del Rosar. Nches de Bustamante, Deputy for Jujuy, Eduardo Parr Copyright Res Bulnes, Deputy for Car Cube Doba, Toma S. Godoy Cruz, Deputy for Mendoza Dr. Pedro Miguel Araoz, Deputy for Tucumán, Dr. Esteban Augusta N. Gazacubden, Deputy for Buenos Aires, Pedro Francisco de Uriarte, Deputy for Santiago del Estero, Pedro Lee Cubden Gallo, Deputy for Santiago del Estero, Pedro Ignacio Rivera, Deputy for Ms. Dr. Mariano Zar Nches de Loria, Deputy for Chacas Dr. Jose Copyright Severo Malabia, Deputy for Chacas Dr. Pedro Ignacio de Castro Barros, Deputy for Lorija, Lic. Gira Cube Nimo Salguero de Cabrera y Cabrera, Deputy for Car Cube DOBA, Dr. Jose Copyright Columbres, Deputy for Catamarca Dr. Jose Copyright Ignacio Thames, Deputy for Tucumán, Friar Gisto de Santa Mara de Oro, Deputy for San Juan, Jose Copyright Antonio Cabrera, Deputy for Car Cube DOBA, Dr. Juan Augusta N. Maza, Deputy for Mendoza, Toma S. Manuel de Ancarina, Deputy for Buenos Aires. Recognition of Independence, Kingdom of Hawaii, 1818, Portugal, 1821, Brazil, United States of America, 1822, United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, December 15, 1823, France, 1830, Denmark, 1841, United Kingdoms of Sweden and Norway, 1847, Spain, April 29, 1857. See also, Argentine War of Independence, Congress of Tucumán, United Provinces of South America. References, 9 de Julio de 1816, Declaración Cubana de la Independencia, Act of Independence, Spanish Wikisource.